So with that, let's bring in Michael Berry, General Counsel for First Liberty Institute, which filed the lawsuit on behalf of these service members. He's also an Afghanistan war veteran and a member of the Marine Corps Reserve who is asking for a religious exemption to the vaccine mandate himself. So, Michael Berry, thank you, and thank you for your service, and good to have you here. So the legal battle here is really one of freedoms under the Constitution and versus readiness, which the Pentagon says is the reason that they want all members to be vaccinated, right?
That's right, Martha. And, First Liberty Institute just won this really first major victory against the vaccine mandate across the nation. We're really thrilled with the outcome. And just as you said, look, if the military is really concerned about accomplishing the mission and readiness and force and strength, then why are they kicking people out? Why are they kicking out Navy SEALs who should be fighting for our freedoms and fighting to defend this nation instead of fighting for their jobs? That's un-American and it's unconstitutional, as the court held.
Yeah, I want to play this soundbite from John Kirby, who was representing the other side, or speaking on behalf of the other side. Here's what he said.
Religious exemptions for military medical requirements they are typically historically very rare. I can't speak to each and every case. Again, I'd point you to the services, but this has absolutely nothing to do with trampling on the religious liberties of our men and women in uniform.
But you argued otherwise, Michael.
That's right. First Liberty Institute argued in court, and the court held that that's exactly what this is. It's trampling all over the constitutional rights of our service members. When the military allows hundreds, possibly thousands of medical exemptions, administrative exemptions, but doesn't grant a single religious exemption, the only way to describe that is just blatant religious hostility. It's unconstitutional. It violates federal law. And again, we're thrilled that the court agreed with us and ruled against the Navy and against the Department of Defense, and we'll see where it goes from here. But Martha, people need to read this decision. It is a powerful decision. It's available at firstliberty.org. People need to read for themselves. This is a blueprint for how to fight this vaccine mandate the proper way, especially for those who have a religious objection, just like our clients do.
And what was their primary religious objection, if you can sum it up?
Well, 35 different Navy SEALs, you're going to have 35, individualized. That's the whole point of this, right? Every person has an individual religious belief and has the right to have that religious belief. But many of them, they object to the fact that the vaccine was tested or developed or produced using aborted fetal cells. Others just simply prayed to God. They earnestly prayed to God and said, God, what do you want me to do? And God said, no. Right? I do not. It would violate their conscience and their religious convictions to get this vaccine. And under the law, that is absolutely protected in this country.
I've heard the point brought up about General George Washington at Valley Forge and how he wanted all of his troops inoculated against smallpox. He did make an exception for people who had already had it, which I thought was interesting. What about that precedent?
Oh, well, you just said it yourself that President Washington, General Washington at the time, even understood that there was such thing as natural immunity. Our Pentagon doesn't seem to get that. They have made no allowances for natural immunity. They've made no allowances for people with sincerely held religious beliefs. And that's what our Constitution and federal law requires. So, and talking about historic precedent, let's talk about Desmond Doss, Medal of Honor recipient, who was threatened with court-martial because of his religious conscience and objection to having to carry a weapon and use a weapon in combat. And our military found a way to allow him to serve with his religious beliefs and his conscience intact, and he went on to receive the Medal of Honor. Our Navy SEALs deserve no less than that. They can continue to serve this country as they have and to defend our freedoms. They're Navy SEALs, for crying out loud. Yeah. They're some of the most elite warriors we have. We need them. We need them fighting for our freedoms, not fighting for their careers.
Well, we're grateful for their service, that is to be sure, and for yours as well, sir. Michael Berry, thank you. Thanks for being here today.